Good day, I'm in Australia, but that's not what we're talking about right now, because there's a lot of Warhammer cartoons and animations that you might not know about, but I found out about, and I watched them, and I'm gonna tell you if they're good. Arguably the best Warhammer animation of all time is this thing called Astartes, which shockingly was made by just one guy. Games Workshop hired him, and now he works for them. So if you saw the secret level Warhammer episode, he had a big hand in that. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if he had a big hand in what we're about to talk about today, but maybe? I should look it up. I could look it up. Today, we're going to talk about tithes. A tithe. That's when you have to give your money because you do things for people. Usually, it's considered a religious thing. And considering the Imperium of Man is basically a big version of a religious cult, it sort of makes sense. Tithes. Episode 1. Sacrifice. Australia. We open on a world that is being messed with by the Necrons. And if you don't know what the Necrons are, plain? If you don't know what the Necrons are, they're essentially ancient Egypt space terminators. They've all been sleeping a really long time. They woke up, they're like, hey, what happened to all our stuff? Why are all these new little creatures running around on our planets? And now they're using crazy disintegration rays and robot things to take back what's theirs. Necrons. Anyway, they're doing some stuff. But then, here come two space marines. But they're not on the same team. I mean, they are on the same team, but they're not from the same chapter. You got the blue and the red. Classic blue v red. The blue boys, they are the ultramarines, which is basically like the standard, the boring, a lot of people's favorites. Plain. You hear it? Ultramarines. But then you got the red boy, and he is missing an arm. He is part of the salamanders. Everyone's version of, oh yeah, if there's good space marines, it's probably the salamanders. Actually, you forgot about the lamenters? I know. But that's the whole point of the lamenters, is you talk about the salamanders because they're the ones that everyone knows, so that you have the opportunity to actually say the lamenters. So we're making space for you lamenter followers. Anyway, you got an ultramarine and you got a salamander, and they are on a mission together. They're exploring what looks like used to be a big battle, and you can see the little Necron guys trying to rebuild stuff. They are there to recover some ultramarine bodies. Why? Because each of them has inside of them something called a gene seed, which is like the key component to making a space marine. So when one dies, you got to go get that seed out so you can plug it into somebody else and make a new space marine. They're very valuable. The salamander is thinking, oh, what were these aliens like? What sacrifices they made? And the ultramarine is like, we don't even need to worry about their feelings. And if you do too much empathy, it's gonna be sympathy. And are you even really a tough guy? And the salamander's like, if you don't think I'm a tough guy, you don't know what you're talking about. We're on the same team, and you better act like it. And Ultramarine's like, okay, I'll be. But also, you got too many feelings. You're Mr. Feelings. And we're not here to have feelings. We're here to kill aliens. Yeah, I know, but I like to have feelings a little bit. They high five, and they fall in love. Not really, but they do continue on their mission. As they're walking, the salamander's like, oh, let's talk about the tithe, you know? Oh, such tithes we have. Everyone has to give. All the planets have to give to the Imperium. They're giving and have to give. And the Ultramarine is like, our planets don't have to give. Our homeworlds are just chilling. And the salamander's like, you fool. You silly old blue boy. We have the ultimate tithe. We have the ultimate sacrifice. Our sacrifice is the men that we will never be, is all of the boys, 2 men that have been taken and now have to be space marines and can never live their lives and be a part of society on that planet. And the Ultramarine's like, you're thinking too much. Do you regret becoming a space marine? The salamander's like, I don't regret, but I do acknowledge. And if you come at me again, I'm gonna show you how tough I am, because this is also a hammer. Reference some of you might get that I'm not gonna explain. Bleep. They explore a little bit more than this crazy Necron spider guy with a big sword comes out and they have a big fight. Stab, 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 stab. The Ultramarine basically takes care of it. The salamander who's missing an arm, he kind of dips. Did you dip on me? Did you run away from the fight? Did you try not to help me? Bruh, stop questioning me. If you question me again, I'm gonna pick your nose so hard you cry. As they're scouring the wreckage, the blue boy's like, hey, dude, where are the ultramarines? Where's all my buddies' bodies? Where are they at? And the salamander says, listen, if they're not here, it probably means the Necrons took them and they're gonna be doing weird experiments on them, so not the best. And they decide, oh, you know what, we're gonna get them back. And they find a portal to the Necron place, and they see the Necrons dragging one of the homeboys through the portal, and they're like, oh, there's 5 of them, what are we gonna do? And one guy's like, hey, let's do this crazy maneuver that has a fun name. And then the other one's like, hey, let's do this other crazy maneuver that has a weird name. And they're both like, word, cool. But what do they actually do? Basically just a big fight scene, and it's very cool. The salamander is missing an arm, and there's an awesome part where he like throws his bolter to the ultramarine, and the ultramarine reloads it for him and throws it back, and they're doing back and forth stuff, and it's like, oh, the chapters are coming together. They're bonding over violence against aliens. After the fight, they run through the portal where they see it. All of the ultramarine homeboys in these weird little stasis things all tied up with Necron lasers. The ultramarine has some weird ultramarine doctor arm thing that comes down, and he's like, I'm going to need some time here. And the salamander looks at the people that aren't space marines that are also still there and alive, and it's like, what about these guys? And the ultramarine's like, nah, dude. They're regular people. Sorry. Also, at one point, I don't remember if it happened already or if it's about to happen, but the salamander talks about how there's this one Necron overlord boss guy that he's like, I made a blood oath to kill you, and I'm gonna do it, and it's really important to me, and I don't remember why. And maybe it's not exactly explained why, and it's only implied that it matters because he made an oath. That happens, or it did happen. As the ultramarine doctor guy is working on the ultramarines and trying to get the gene seeds out of them. Oh, because they're all dead, by the way. I forgot to mention that. Little scarabs are popping up and showing holograms, and it's of that guy, the guy that the salamander made the oath to get. And he starts talking, and he's like, whoa, you have found my lair. And then the salamander just blasts the little robot, poof, and the hologram turns off. Another hologram turns on somewhere else. It's like, whoa, let me continue what I'm talking. Eventually, hologram guy pops up proper. Well, not proper, he's still hologram guy, and he's like, just so you know, I'm just behind that portal. So if you want to do your blood vengeance oath thing, all you gotta do is leave the ultramarine behind and walk through that door, and we can do fisticuffs. And there's a moment where the ultramarine looks to him, and he looks to the ultramarine. Is he gonna stand by his cousin, or is he gonna go do the thing that he promised he was gonna do to some alien? And then obviously he doesn't go through the portal. No, I'm gonna help my cousin. Grabs the chain sword and is doing all sorts of one-arm fighting. And the ultramarine gets all of the gene seeds, and they start running out. And we're a team now, ultramarines and salamanders working together. But just as they get out, the ultramarine looks like he got blasted by the Necron's weird disintegration rate. Because here's the thing about the Necrons. All their weapons massively overpowered. Oh no, I'm not gonna be able to do anything. And the salamander's like, come with me, I'll help you. Instead of taking the salamander's arm, he pulls out the gene seeds and it's like, no, take these, get my brothers home safely. And the salamander, with his one good arm, takes them, puts them in his pocket, and is like, I got you, fam. Salamander. The ultramarine turns around and he starts trying to like do some final blasts until eventually he disintegrates, and the salamander's running push, and then he gets a call, bloop 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 bloop, and it's like, command, it's me, Salamander, I got the gene seeds. And the command's like, bloop 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 bloop, get to high ground, Salamander, help's on the way. When a bunch of missiles come down and blow up the Necrons. And it ends with a quote, wear the mantle of hero, inspire where you can, but remember always that we are angels of death, not of mercy or salvation. That's what the ultramarines say anyway. Salamanders are probably more like, oh, we're a little bit angels of salvation sometimes. Just a little bit. A little salvation. It's really, really fun when different chapters interact, because so many of them either hate each other or despise each other, but also low-key kind of respect each other, and it's just good. The conversation they have about sacrifice, about how everyone has to pay a tithe to the Imperium, and the tithes that their homeworld pays, is a little bit of an odd thing to hear in Warhammer, because 99% of the time, the thing that is the least cared about, the thing that is on the lowest totem of importance in terms of like what the Imperium wants to protect and hold true to is human lives. Human lives are essentially a resource that they can throw at things. Now, they want to keep humanity alive, right? The big picture of all of humanity. But when it comes to like individual people, they do not consider that of high value kind of ever. So it's fun to have a moment where one of these Space Marines is acknowledging that the loss of potential, the loss of just living an ordinary life that all of these people could have had, is a sacrifice. And it's neat coming from a Space Marine. Plain. Episode 2 is called The Harvest. I really like this episode. Also, spoiler alert, I actually like all 3 of the episodes quite a bit. I do think this one, more than any of the others, requires a bit more context to understand. If I didn't know anything about Warhammer going into this one, I think I would have a lot of moments where we're like, huh? What? Why? What's that? Why does that do that? Why does she do that? You'll see. We open on a bunch of people sitting in a room on the ground looking upset, being like, oh, the noise. And they're hearing all these crazy, cacophonous, screeching alien noises in the background. Then some soldiers come in and they're like, don't worry, you guys are gonna be good. We're gonna take care of you. Things are gonna be good. Trust us. But you also notice that no one else, other than the people on the floor, hears the crazy noises. The people on the ground are like, what is that? Oh, by the way, they're definitely clearly locked in a room and the soldiers are essentially imprisoning them there. The soldiers are like, what noise, dude? We got like a week and a half before the aliens get here. What are you worried about? And I know what's going on because I sometimes read things about Warhammer. And what's going on is all those people in that room, those are psychers. Psychers are people that have an innate connection to the warp. And they can sometimes manifest it in them and, do psychic stuff. The problem is that the tyranid are coming, and the tyranid are these crazy hive mind, bug, Cthulhu, space alien things. When they start moving towards a planet, anyone that is susceptible to warp stuff or psyker things can hear them screaming from like a million miles away. So what they're hearing is actually the swarm fleet like charging towards the planet. Anyway, Broomstick Lady tells them, don't worry, you're gonna be fine, just chill out. And we cut to a very tall lady. This lady is taller than most Space Marines. Why? Because she is not a Space Marine. She is part of the adeptus custodes, which are like the super soldiers. I don't know if this is actually true, but the way it has been described to me by people that I think know more than me is that the difference in strength between a Space Marine and a person is sort of the difference in strength between a member of the adeptus custodes and a Space Marine. And they are like the Emperor's Guard. They are the folks that walk around the Emperor's palace on Terra and make sure, the Emperor stays safe. They also do very special missions that are done on behest of the Emperor. For example, the one in this episode right now. She's getting her armor on, it's cool, it's badass, and she's got her friend who does sign language. Why does her friend do sign language? Because her friend is one of my favorite parts of Warhammer outside of the orks. It is the Sisters of Silence. The Sisters of Silence are individuals that are nulls, blanks. They are people that are not only not susceptible to the warp, they repel the warp and psychic energy. So they're really good at fighting demons. They're really good at dealing with anyone that is a psyker because they can essentially shunt out your power. They even repel them. They feel wrong. So if you're not a psyker, and you meet a blank, it's still like, whoa, what is up with that person? Like, I'm getting a little bit of a headache just being around them. Like, it feels like nails on a chalkboard. But if you're a psyker and you're near someone that's a blank, it is like, what are you doing? I don't understand. You're a space where a person should be. And they don't talk. They do sign language. Anyway. Sign language lady's like, all right, we got a bountiful harvest. Let's go. But we gotta be, we gotta be cautious because people are gonna be pissed. And the custodian is like, listen, you get the harvest, I'll deal with the people. We flash back to the planet. The psychers are all still huddled up in a little cave and they're like, a spaceship, maybe we are gonna get saved. The custodes and her Sister of Silence partner land on the planet and some Space Marines walk out. These are White Templar and I don't know that much about them right now. Doesn't matter. Tell me about them in the comments. One of the White Templars like, sup, what you doing here? You here to help us? Because, we're defending this planet from tyrannids and we've asked for reinforcements a lot. We haven't gotten any. So like, what? You gonna help us or not? What's up? And the Custodes is like, I'm here to see this guy. And the Space Marine is like, you mean Captain this guy? And she's like, bruh, just tell me where that guy is and stop giving me a hard time. And he's like, I'm gonna give you a hard time because you're not helping us. And she's like, I am a representative of the Emperor, so boom, go away from me. And he's like, well, we're gonna go defend the planet. You wanna go find the harvest? They're over there. You can escort yourself. We have more important stuff to do because we're the White Templar and we made an oath to protect this planet for like 3,000 years. And she's like, okay, but just remember, I need to have a face-to-face with this guy. His name is Malachi, I think. It doesn't matter. I need to have a face-to-face with your boss, so let me know. The Custodes and the Sister of Silence go, and they go to check on the harvest. And when they do, when they get there, everyone's all nervous. They're like, oh, shoot, we didn't know there was going to be a Sister of Silence. We didn't know there was going to be a Custodes here. Okay. And the Sister of Silence starts asking them questions in sign language, and everyone's just like, I don't understand. And the Adeptus Custodes is like, some people ask the Sister of Silence, they're like, hey, like, is everything cool? And the Sister of Silence just says very bluntly, but in sign language, no, you're doomed, your planet is doomed, you're all gonna die. And the Custodes translates it to, oh yeah, everything's fine. The Sister of Silence goes into the place where they're keeping all of the psychers to check on them, and the psychers are like, well, you don't have, there's already like an empty space person. And she's just looking around like, all right, lot of psychers, nice. She tells the Adeptus Custodes lady, we're good, we got psychers, let's bounce. Worth noting, there is this organization, the Black Ships, and they basically go around the galaxy, going to planets where there's a bunch of psychers and collect those psychers and bring them back to Terra. Why do they do this? Reason number one, psychers are very dangerous. A psycher that is out of control is likely to create a warp scenario where they might explode into chaos and demons start spewing out. And we don't want that. The second thing is that if the psychers are particularly powerful and formidable, the Imperium will take them in and train them and make them a psycher for the Imperium. But reason number three, and the main reason, in order to keep the psychic energy of the Emperor alive and to power the Golden Throne, psychers have to be sacrificed to it. And I believe it is 10,000 a day. So the vast majority of the people that are taken in by the Black Ships, so the vast majority of psychers that are discovered by the Imperium are sacrificed to preserve the energy of the Emperor back on Terra. So that's what's gonna happen to all of these people, almost certainly. Because none of them seem like they're that powerful in terms of psychers. They're mostly just like, I'm having a hard time. They start escorting the psychers to the ships, and they're like, let's go. We gotta take them. We gotta get out of here, because Tyranid are coming, and we don't want to deal with that. When they get outside, the psionic screams of the Tyranid invading becomes too much for one of the psychers, and he starts freaking out, and he's like, I gotta get out of here, and he runs, and he's doing that. The soldiers all point their guns at them, and then the broom lady's like, one of these guys is worth more than all of our lives. We cannot kill them. But the Sister of Silence is just beelines it for him, and there's this awesome moment where he essentially starts to have a warp freak out. He like explodes, and all this chaos energy starts coming out of him, and in most circumstances this would be a very bad thing. It would lead to a really big explosion, or to demons coming out, or any number of horrible things happening. But because of her innate abilities, she can just walk right through it, and it creates this awesome bubble. She literally like grabs him and shunts him out of the warp chaos storm that he's making and into her little bubble, and he just passes out. As this is happening, out of nowhere, she notices something. There's something in the sky. Not in the sky, on the rock, a little bit below the sky, but still above her. It's a Tyranid, and it jumps down, and she takes out a sword, and she does a big cool sword fight with it. Man, the Sisters of Silence are so cool. And then Tyranids attack. Everybody's fighting. The Adeptus Custodes is like, get them to the ships, I'll take care. And she takes out her giant glowy power pike halberd thing, and it's just smashing stuff. Fight scenes are very good, very cool. Some of the psychers get killed, a lot of the soldiers get killed, but most of them get to the ship. As they get to the ship and they're loading up the psychers, that guy Malachi, I think his name is Malachi, the captain of the White Templar that the custodes wanted to talk to, arrives, and he's like, hey, I heard you wanted to talk to me. You're not giving us reinforcements. You took the tithe, you took the harvest. You're here to just collect stuff for the Empire, and you're not helping us save the planet. What else could we give you? And she's like, hey, you know how you guys like made an oath to like keep this planet safe and all that? Well, turns out the Imperium strategy for dealing with the Tyranid is going to be, we're just going to kill everything on a giant ring of planets that is sort of going across their warpath to prevent them from getting biomass for a while. So instead of protecting this planet, what we need you to do is get all of the Space Marines off the planet, and then we need you to do exterminatus on the planet. Destroy it so that the whole of it is just dust and rock. Everything is gone. The Tyranids survive off of biomass. So when the Tyranid invade a planet, they eat everything on a planet that is sort of alive, like plants, animals, etc., but even down to like bacteria. They consume that, they turn it into this goo, and then they use the goo to make more stuff. As the Tyranid are making their way through the galaxy, if they get too many planets in a row that don't have any biomass, it slows them down, maybe makes them want to go in another direction. Yay, Imperium. The White Templar is like, are you fucking kidding me? We have spent the last 3,000 years protecting this planet. We're not just gonna do that. And she's like, first of all, I wasn't asking, I was telling. And second of all, I speak for the Emperor, so you have to. And he gets really pouty. For the Emperor, I guess. The Emperor protects. And as the custodes leaves, the Sister of Silence is like, oh, that guy had a lot of pride. Oh, he's a troublemaker. And the custodes is like, yeah, he'll do what he's told. And they start flying off. And as they do, there's like one final cut of the psychers sitting in the ship and like looking around as they're all like covered in tubes and have metal boxes on their heads. And they're like, I don't think this is safety. And that's the end of the episode. Plain. No one is having fun at any level of responsibility and needing to do what they're told at other people. Everyone is upset. Everyone is also kind of being taken advantage of, and everyone is also like not really being respected outside of the greater good of the Imperium. That goal takes priority over anything else. I think I would get the greater message of the episode if I didn't know anything about Warhammer, but there would have been a lot of confusing bits. I wouldn't have understood why the people were hearing screams. Anything with the Sister of Silence is pretty good. There's gonna be a lot of planes today, boys. Chicka chicka, plane time! The last episode in this little mini-series is called Bullets. Guess what the tithe is that they're collecting in this one? Starts with some Imperial Guardsmen sitting on a dropship having the talk of like, oh, we're Imperial Guardsmen. Yeah, life's so tough for us. Yeah, well, you think you're so tough? Yeah, well, I'm tough. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm the commissar. Yeah, we don't care whether you're the commissar because I'm the one in charge of this mission. Actually, commissar. Oh man, so it's a good thing we're gonna get down there soon because they don't got many bullets down there. I don't think they actually say that, but there's an implication that they're there to drop off ammunition that is desperately needed because this city is under attack from a bunch of orks and they're running low on supplies. In fact, you see this one really serious lady looking at one of those tablets. Munition count terminal, guns exhausted, fixed blades, and may the Emperor protect. They don't call it grim dark for nothing. It's not happy dark. It's not upbeat light. Anyway, the dropships are making their way down to this planet, and then we get some of my favorite boys, the orks. And these orks are driving their crazy planes that kind of just look like World War II fighter jets. I'm trying to shoot people. Oh, speaking of planes. Shooting them. People are getting shot through the drop ships. Some of the gunners are like, oh, my gun's not working, but we gotta get them down. Oh, I'm gonna crash my ship into the orc ships. And there's a great shot of one of the pilot orcs turning his head and seeing the explosion moving towards him and knowing that he's about to die because he's about to get hit by an explosion in like 2 ships. Surprised into kind of excited. And it's funny because, you know, if the orcs gotta go, a giant explosion is like, that's peak orc. Anyway, they get down to the planet, and as they land, you can see the base that they land in has like all of these giant cannons. And they're like, hey, we could have used those to land here, you know? Why don't you help us? Oh, dude, those guns ran dry days ago. We just got like little armaments left. So we're really excited that you're here to resupply us, because that's definitely why you're here. You're not here to collect a tithe, because that wouldn't make any sense unless I knew what miniseries I was in which case it would make a lot of sense. Because I'm in a mini-series about tithes. And the folks at Atlanta kind of look at each other like, oh yeah, just go check the ship. The ship opens, and instead of seeing a wide array of resupplies, they see an empty ship. And he looks around, he's like, what's the deal? Where's all the stuff you were supposed to bring? And the lady who said, I'm in charge now, kind of looks to the commissar, and the commissar was like, you said you were in charge now. And she's like, actually, we're not here to help you. We need you to give us all of the ammunition you have left on the whole planet, even though you're in the middle of being attacked right now, because tithes are due. Gotta get them bullets in. And he's like, well, no, are you kidding? Like, what? And the soldiers start trying to draw on each other, and everyone like puts guns up and is like, be careful. The commissar steps in and is like, this is serious. We are not trying to win the little war. We are trying to win the big war. Also playing, do you hear it? It's not about the little victories, because I'm the commissar. In order to win the big war, we gotta do stuff like this. Like, say your planet's done. We're taking your bullets and we're bringing them back to the Imperium where they're gonna get used for good. I guess we just load up the ammunition, I guess we'll just hang out. Also, all the while, there's like some sniper orcs that are kind of just watching and being like, those fly orcs suck. We're the cool orcs. They start loading up the ammunition, and the commissar is like, you know what? I'm good. I've had to kill 50 people. Not talking about heretics, not talking about Xenos, just talking about guys, people that weren't willing to do the super horrible stuff that we asked them to do, and I had to kill them, and I don't like that. So you know what? You guys do the mission. I'm gonna use my chainsword. I'm gonna hang out here, and I'm gonna help the folks that are left and have a little fight with them. The lady's like, what, you're not gonna do your duty? Which is kind of what he said to her earlier, and I forgot to mention that. Sorry. And he's like, shame. You'd have been a good commissar. Anyway, peace. And there's a big fight. There's an orc that has a big claw arm, and I really like the claw arm because the top of it is sort of like a traditional claw, but the bottom of it is just like nubs. Big fight, sword. He's chain sword and everybody's fighting. We love the orcs. They're kind of like bears with rocket launchers, and we see on the horizon like more and more orcs coming, and trucks and guns. Like, it's donezo. People are donezo. It cuts back to that lady at the beginning who got the tablet, and she looks to the soldier. She goes, hey, you got a knife? And he's like, yeah. And she pulls out her sword and is like, all right, let's go. And they leave their little bunker and they step out into the trench. We fight with swords against orcs now. And then we cut to that drop ship that was collecting all the ammunition, landing on a giant Imperial cruiser. A munitions depot lands, and a bunch of the administrative dudes come out, and they're like, we are the munitions department. What do you have for us? Oh, we got all this ammunition from this planet for this tithe. So, you know, there you go. The Imperium guy looks at like his tablet and he goes, nah. What do you mean that? Yeah, no. We're fully loaded and we can't carry any more weight. So just blow this ammunition up and go to your next mission. Bye. And the Scar Creeper is like, I shall add it to the destroyed ammunition that got wasted and didn't need to be taken, but we did anyway because we are all cogs in an Imperial machine that thinks it's trying to work together for the greater good, but a lot ends up getting wasted in bureaucracy, and we don't really deal with the fallout of that other than lots and lots of people being killed that don't need to be killed, and lots of stuff being wasted that doesn't need to be wasted, even though it's wasted in this circumstance. There's like a billion things happening, and at the end of the day, is it really the greater good if it's so vast that so many people are facing hardships and are trodden under boot and wedged between the cogs and squeezed of their life essence to the point where there's nothing and it's all for nothing and everything is wasted and there's not a point to any of it, and they could have just kept the ammunition on the planet because they could have used it. Now we're just blowing it up in space. And how many other times are this happening in the universe? How often in the Warhammer universe are people's lives being sacrificed, not for the Imperium, not for the greater good, but just for some bureaucracy? And it's stupid. Anyway, that's kind of how it ends. The end. Should I watch more Warhammer shows? Do you want me to do more where I talk about them?